one of the nurses and social workers volunteering at the mutual aid.
Thank you.
This means so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. Well, I would want to show that our local law enforcement are fully capable of maintaining peace, that people are out here exercising their First Amendment rights in a peaceful way, and we certainly do not need to have military troops sent in because our local law enforcement are doing exactly what they need to do. And I want to say thank you to both the Broadway Police Department, also Cook County, as well as our Illinois State Police. They're doing a fantastic job.
And then everyone, we're going to have a reveal in a minute. This is just dropped off.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hi. Come say hi.
You're welcome. Hi.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Good to meet you. You got it?
Yeah,
All right. There you go.
You be safe, okay?
Yeah. You guys, thank you for being out here.
Thank you both for being out here on the ground.
We got done with votes last night at 9 and we got on the first flight home so we could be out here with you.
20 years ago at the Capitol.
You haven't changed it.
And I appreciate you guys appreciate my sign.
We don't want any physical violence.
No violence.
It's meant to be funny.
It is meant to be fun.
I'm a peacenik from the 60s.
I love it.
It's so great to see you guys.
Okay, everyone, we're going to do reveals in a bit.
You don't remember the 60s,
I
right?
don't remember the 60s.
No,
Yeah.
but you're a
set up
peacenik
back
in
the-
disguise. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being out here. You guys are on the front lines, and this is why I served in uniform, so that you would have this right to peacefully protest. So protest. This is America. This is what we do. But certainly what they're doing with picking up people, kidnapping them off the streets, denying due process, that is not America.
Let's go down.
Thank you. Now go down. Yep.
Yeah, I could. My friend Spicy Jesus could show you guys some gnarly injuries. Where is Spicy Jesus anyway?
No, they're not letting you in. They're not letting me in. I would bring them in. I know.
Well, is there any, do you know of any route to get them in?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't think it's that.
we're doing women's health, and we're reading about women not having, you know,
Any sanitary products.
or like you get one a day or something.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
No,
I
they're
don't
not
know.
letting, but you know what? I'm asking and we're demanding to meet with the DHS regional head, and when he does, I will bring up this issue of sanitation.
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks for coming to just
Thank you for bringing it up.
yeah.
If I get in, I'll make sure to.
I mean, I just want to drop this stuff off somewhere. Do any of you journalists know? Is there like, is it because the police said there was a contact point
The state
somewhere?
police kind of have a contact. And when I say kind of, I mean it sounds like it's unreliable. Sometimes they can get in contact with them, sometimes they can't. So you can talk to the state police guys, because I know sometimes when families show up and they're kind of like,
we'll come back here for you guys. Yes. We're going to come back here for you guys.
We're gonna go here.
But you guys got to stay on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
They're not coming this way.
So you can check out the area a little bit.
United will never be divided. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
Thank you guys for being here.
Since we got done with votes in DC last night, we came out.
Thank you for doing what's right,
It is the right
because what they're doing is wrong.
That's right. Thank you. for
They're
being out
racially
here.
profiling people who look like me. I was born here in America. My babies were born here. You know, I'm a proud American. For them to target people like, you know, like us just because of how I look and because I speak Spanish, that's racial profiling and that's racist.
I wish I spoke Spanish. No, you're right. It's not. It's un-American.
Yes.
And I
You
just
know what?
wanna
And I
thank
have
you.
friends that are Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico is part of the United States, and they speak Spanish there. So how are they gonna say that that they can stop us, detain us just because of the language that we speak?
Let me say a word if I can. I'm honored to be here today and certainly want to be here with my colleague, Senator Duckworth. How many times have we heard the speech from Donald Trump that we're trying to find murderers and rapists and terrorists and criminally insane people and sexual predators and arrest them? You know what's happening? The
Yes.
people who are being arrested are not guilty of any crimes. 70% of those who have been arrested so far have no criminal record, none. You saw what happened at 2200 South Shore apartment building just a few days ago. It was a terrible thing in the middle of the night to raid the building with helicopters, which my colleague knows a lot more about that than I ever will. The people rappelling out of those helicopters and breaking down the doors of people's homes and dragging the women and children out into the night, into the darkness, with their hands tied behind them. That isn't America. And if Donald Trump thinks he is making America safer by doing that, he's wrong. Being inhumane to people who are innocent and have no crime in their background is not part of what we should be. Now we're meeting in Washington and raising this issue on the floor of the Senate on a regular basis, and we're going to continue to. I want to say a kind word, because they deserve it, to the law enforcement who are here, like our state police, the county sheriff's office, as well as the Broadview Police Department. We just met with the mayor, and she's going through some real hardship. This is a small town. She's trying to serve the constituents, and what's going on here is just not good for her or for our country. We made a request today to come visit this facility. I've been in it before over a span of 20 years. Visiting the Broadview facility was normal. Never think twice about it, but they don't do that anymore. And they won't talk to us about what's happening, about what their plans are, who they're arresting, who's being detained. The detention facilities in that building are very limited, very limited. We're told there are 2 cells and 1 toilet available to people who go inside. We don't know for sure because they won't let us in. They won't let us see what they're doing inside. If this is so secret, how can it be right? We know that they're keeping it secret because there are things going on here which don't square with the law or the values of this country. We want a safe America. We want crime to be reduced, but we want to do it the American way, in a way that respects our Constitution and our rights as individuals. So we'll continue this battle in Washington. I couldn't have a better ally and in many respects a leader than my colleague, Senator Duncan.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you, Senator Durbin. Again, this is about people exercising your First Amendment rights. We're not stronger when we don't adhere to the rule of law. We're not stronger when we trample on our Constitution. And I just want to thank the protesters who are out here. Please remain peaceful, but thank you for exercising your First Amendment right. It's why I served for 23 years in the National Guard. I want to thank our law enforcement officers. They are doing a remarkable job as that buffer. And again, it is appalling that 2 United States senators are not allowed to visit this facility. What are you afraid of? Is what I want to ask Christina. What are you afraid of? If you don't hide, you don't run away when you're proud of what you're doing. You don't mask yourself when you're proud of what you're doing over there. And so I say again, let us in. We've asked the the regional head of DHS to let us in and to come meet with us, and he's refused so far, but we're going to press the case. Last night, for the first time in my entire political career, both in the House and the Senate, I voted against the defense budget. And I voted against it because what they're doing with the National Guard, their exploitation of our military to use them to try to scare and occupy our streets. This is not what America's about. This is why we fought the revolution. This is why we got rid of the British, because they used to do this. This is not America. And so I, again, want to thank our protesters for what you're doing. And we're going to continue to push as hard as we can from where we are in the Senate to get truth and transparency. Thank you all.
What do you think about the ruling from the judge?
I thought that it was, well, I want to thank Dick Durbin for the hard work that he has done over the last several years to seat judges who are fair and impartial, and we're winning these court cases in part because of the work that we've done. But this is also what the judges have said, not just our judge here in the Chicagoland area, but also in Portland, also in California. They've made it clear that the Trump administration claims that there is turmoil on the streets are not based in reality. Basically, they're lying. We have peaceful protesters. Our law enforcement are more than capable of doing their job. If Donald Trump truly cared about violence on our streets and crime, then he wouldn't have diverted $800 million in funding that Congress appropriated for law enforcement efforts, for violence prevention efforts, for child protective services efforts. He has literally defunded the police. And so then he turns around and wants to occupy our streets. That's not acceptable. We're going to go now, go over and thank
Do you know if the National Guard is still here?
I do not know.
Are you going to go in?
They're not letting us in. We're trying to let us in. As Senator Durbin, he's been in before. I've never been in there. It was never a problem to get in before. So this is the first time that we've ever been blocked.
I used to go in with two Catholic nuns who every Friday prayed a rosary here, Sister Pat and Sister Joanne. And it was considered a normal thing to say
now they
goodbye.
shoot pastors. That's what they do here.
Yes.
Now they shoot pastors. Yes.
Unfortunately. I just want to say one other thing. The civic leaders, the business leaders in the city of Chicago held a press conference and asked this president, don't send in the troops. We don't need him to be safe, and it gives an image of this city. This is not fair. This is a good place and a good place to live. Can we be better? Yes. We should work on that every single day. But this negative image of Chicago is not helping at all. Let's go.
Should Cook County release the criminals to ICE?
The rest of the Q&A will be back down.
Should Cook County release the criminals to ICE?
Will be in the back.
Retake.
Really quick. Switch this. Mic check.
Mic check 1, 2, 3. Colin, we're ready to switch it. Oh no, it's already live?
We're checking the audio.
Audio good? All right, lovely.
Protect the borders. Go do your job and protect the borders.
Tell your people
Get
not
out
to
of my
slither
community.
across the borders.
My people were born
Tell them
here.
not to
And
slither.
guess what?
Well,
My
then if
kids
they-
were born here and their
then
kids
they
are going to
should
born
stay
here. And
here.
Mexicans are
Then
not going
they should stay
anywhere.
here.
Mexicans
They
aren't
should
going
stay
anywhere.
here.
Stop being racist then. Stop being racist. Well, stop being racist. Get the hell out of here. Stop being racist then. Because all Mexicans are going nowhere, all right? I'm a U.S. American born citizen. My babies are born here and their kids are going to be born here. It's so fucking not. We're taking more questions down there with the camera set up.
So we're down here at the Broadview, Illinois ICE detention facility where Senators Duckworth and Durbin, the two Democratic senators for the state of Illinois, are preparing to deliver remarks after just saying that they have not been allowed inside of this ICE processing facility, despite Senator Durbin in the past having had access to the facility. You see the setup there with the microphones where we'll be hearing them speak here in just a moment as they're walking over and press is getting set up. No.
Stay down, the shot, please. Stay down. Thank you.
have time for a couple questions from folks?
Just told the press. Can we get you to respond to your thoughts on the TRO granted by the judge that basically prevents the National Guard from doing any work here in the city?
When I read Judge Perry's ruling, it's clear that she did not agree with the Trump administration and the Department of Justice that argued that we needed in Illinois federalized troops or troops from another state like Texas. She said that the information given to the court was unreliable. It's a point we've made over and over again. This is totally unnecessary. If you want to fight crime, this is diversion of crime, talent, people fighting crime, a diversion of law enforcement from what they can be doing in our neighborhoods to make them safer. This political theater may have a lot of opportunities for television and such, but it doesn't get the job done of fighting crime. I couldn't agree more with Senator Duckworth. The resources that have been available through Washington have helped us bring down the violent crime rate, and we've got to continue that effort. Shouldn't spare anything when it comes to this effort. But the diversion of so many resources in law enforcement to Broadview, Illinois, is an illustration of resources that should be spent in the community to make it safer. I'll work with any administration to reduce crime, but I certainly won't abide by this whole approach of mass deportation, taking innocent people out of their beds in the middle of the night, tying children's hands behind them, and taking them out to be interrogated. What is the life of that child going to be like from this point forward? Is anybody asking these basic questions? I'm afraid they're not doing as much as they should. Senator Duckworth and I are honored to be here today, and I turn it over to her.
Thank you, Dick. I couldn't agree with the ruling more in that it's been clear, not just here in Chicago, but also in the ruling in Portland, that the Trump administration's claims that local law enforcement is not capable of maintaining peace during the civil disobedience, with people out expressing themselves. That's not true. Our state police, our local law enforcement, our county sheriffs, our village police are doing their jobs, and we should let them do their jobs. The Trump administration has diverted over $800 million that Congress appropriated in a bipartisan way in order to fund violence prevention efforts, child protective services, also for training for police officers. They've actually diverted those funds away from law enforcement. If they cared about crime, they would put that money back where it belongs, with our law enforcement officers, so that they can do their jobs. But it is not appropriate to militarize our cities. It is not appropriate to activate National Guard troops and send them into our cities. Our National Guard men and women are doing a fantastic job. But you know what? They sign up to be tank drivers. They should be practicing driving tanks. They should be practicing to defend America against our enemies around the world. And that's what they would rather be doing. So what I've been saying to protesters, to people of Chicago, be kind to the guardsmen and women. They're here against their will. They're here because they were activated to come here. Maintain your protest. Say what you need to say. Do it peacefully. But I condemn what is happening with ICE, the work that they're doing, snatching people off the streets, shooting priests in the head who were guilty simply of a crime of praying, throwing smoke grenades in front of elementary schools. This is not America. This is not what this democracy is about. We just want to go in and look at this facility and see what the conditions are, and they will not let us in. It is shameful. You don't run and hide if you're proud of what you're doing. That's what ICE is doing right now.
Right here. Alex Gabriel with News Nation. What does it signal to you, News Nation, sir? What does it signal to you, the fact that the immigration officers and agents behind those closed doors aren't letting you in to see what's happening there?
This is the fourth time we've asked in the last several weeks. We started at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station. All along the way, we just want to be briefed on what they're doing, what their resources are, and what's happening in the streets. They've refused to tell us this information. I've done this job for a few years now. I've never had this kind of stonewalling by any presidential administration. Something's going on in there that they don't want us to see. I don't know what it is, but all Americans should be asking the same question. What is it? Can you justify it under the Constitution?
Yeah, go ahead. No, right here in the green jacket. Go ahead. Yeah.
Looking at the president's tactics thus far, we've had ICE deployed into Chicago, the National Guard deployed into those cities. We've had now this restraining order, and now he's appealed while troops are expected to start deploying or patrolling in Memphis today. Like, looking at this just kind of seemingly whack-a-mole style tactic that you've had to employ to try to stop this, where does this end in your mind? Like, where does this go?
Well, let me make it clear what the Trump administration is trying to do. They are trying to normalize having troops on our streets. And they're doing this all across this great nation. They are trying to normalize an extension of presidential power that is not appropriate under the Constitution. They're trying to negate posse comitatus by redefining, by trying to define what is happening and claiming that there's an insurrection, that we are under invasion. These are language that are used on the posse comitatus, that are used within our Constitution, that they are perverting in order to keep troops, normalize troops on our streets. What are they trying to do? He's doing this to make sure that he can actually have these troops on our streets when it comes to elections. And we're not going to let that happen because it is not normal, it is not constitutional, and it is against the law. It's been ruled to be so in Los Angeles, that you cannot do this, that you can't just activate troops. The stuff that he's doing...
US Code 12406, yes you can.
The stuff that he's doing is against the law and has been ruled so in federal courts.
Senator Durbin, you said you would work with any administration to stop crime. The president has said that he's willing to work with you. Why not take him up on his offer?
First point made by Senator Duckworth. When we look at his budget, he ends up cutting the very programs that our police have asked for and what they need. You know, they have a tough time recruiting new policemen. They're offering $50,000 incentives for those who sign up for ICE. What about our local policemen? We need more on the streets and more doing the professional work there. Let's put the federal resources in with the state and local resources and do it together in a cooperative fashion, not force it down our throats of sending in troops from Texas.
So you don't think he's sincere?
No, I don't.
No, not at all. The $800 million that was appropriated was done so in a bipartisan way that he has now diverted away from what it was intended to do, which is to help local law enforcement.
Last question. Guard has been sent home. Are they still deployed? Are they still at the Army base in Elwood? Where are they right now?
The court ruling limits their activity. I'd have to look at the ruling in detail, but they spell out the cities that they can travel between for the time being under the TRO.
Federal officers that are being assaulted by the protesters, should they be treated the same way as the J6ers that have assaulted federal officers?
Can I ask, so I'd like your reaction to the split screen here. The reduction in force notices have gone out across federal law enforcement. My first question, do you have any idea what the scope of those layoffs are? And then what is your reaction to the split screen? We're seeing federal workers laid off across the board while we're seeing National Guard deployed in Memphis. We're seeing ICE agents working on the ground, ICE agents who are not getting paid soon. What is your reaction to the split screen? And then if you have any information on the scope of the risks.
I don't have information on the scope of the risk, but we know that the Trump administration has been targeting federal workers. They've been firing federal workers from their first days on since they took office. Remember that they committed to firing 83,000 people from the Department of Veterans Affairs to deny veterans access to the care that they deserved and they've earned. They had a plan to basically fire 83,000 workers at the VA by the end of this year. They fired more veterans from their federal jobs than anywhere else in the nation's history. Donald Trump has been wanting to do this, right? He's been firing federal workers. And again, this is because of his own personal agenda. He told us what he was going to do with Project 2025, and they're carrying it out. And what we need to do is to push back as hard as we can, and we're doing that in Washington. We're in a shutdown right now. We're fighting to raise, to force them to not allow our insurance rates to be raised. That's what's going to happen to millions of families across this country.
Mark October 27th on your calendar. That is the deadline day for the insurance companies, health insurance companies, to notify the families in Illinois about how much their health insurance premium is going up because of the big, beautiful budget bill that the president has signed into law. It's going to be dramatic. Average 114%. Your health insurance bill, if you're on AmericanHealthcare.gov, is going to go up 114%. That is a hardship for families struggling to get by. That's part of the conversation. So if you want to split the screen, there's a third split of it. We want to make sure that these families are protected from these increases in health insurance premiums.
A federal judge ruled that this fence would come down, and you thank protesters for being out here every day. Your thoughts on the fence coming down? Do you know the timeline for that? I know proposals are due today.
I don't know what the timeline is, but what my thoughts are, I urge the protesters to remain peaceful. I urge the protesters to exercise their First Amendment rights, but to do it in a peaceful way and to respect law enforcement officers as they tell them what they need to do in order to keep everybody safe, but also allow them to express their opinions.
Senator, the president, for weeks prior to sending the National Guard here that threatened to do it. He made good on that threat. He's now threatening to use the Insurrection Act to go around the courts. If that happens, what is the next step?
The courts are the next step. Quite honestly, we're in the minority in Congress, limited opportunity to change policy, and of course the president is going to do what he wants to do regardless of the Constitution. The courts are the last step to stand up to him and tell him you can't break the law, you can't ignore the Constitution.
Thank you, everyone.
Senators, why are you guys against enforcing immigration law? 8 U.S. Code 1325, illegal entry.
Nobody's above the law, right? Senator? Nobody's not even illegals, right? So.
She kept pointing at me and I was just like, take that person on the break.
Trying to talk to some protesters.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us, that was Senator Tammy Duckworth and Dick Durbin, both of the Illinois Democratic senators from the state of Illinois. They were just taking questions from the media after coming out here to deliver some water to the aid station that is posted nearby. We're now making our way over to where the protesters are currently gathered to hear their reaction to actually seeing some leaders out here on the scene the way many have been clamoring to see.
The president is an immigrant. She's not talking. She's talking to them. She can do that. She wants to, but she can't. Get the fuck out. Your family came here illegally too. Everybody's here illegally. Not just the Hispanics, not just anybody else, but everybody. Your family came over in a boat, conquered, saying stupid shit, fucking here illegally.
It's not our bad that you're bad at war. There was no
bad at war. Bitch,
We
the
won.
fuck? You don't know who the fuck I am.
Don't engage with these guys. Don't engage with these guys.
Hey, it's not working. It's not
We're
working.
not racist here. Get the racist out. She was alone over here. She was alone over here before everybody came over here. She was alone over here before you guys all came in her face.
Fuck racist. Fuck racist. Fuck racist. Fuck racist. Fuck racist.
You guys are motherfuckers. We don't want no racist motherfuckers right here. Get the fuck out.
I got really quiet. I thought we were doing the fuck racist.
Yeah.
Fuck racist.
Status Coup?
Oh yeah, love you. How about you stop doing that? Follow the Constitution. The government took an oath to protect the Constitution, and they're not doing it. They are deporting criminals with no due process, and that is not right. That's breaking the Constitution. Even immigrants have the right to due process. Give them their rights. We're all entitled to it.
That's what they're doing when they arrest them.
Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait.
And they're not. And they're not. And they're not. That's what they should be doing. Thank you. And that's what they should be doing, but they're not.
Yeah. We've seen an influx today in right-wing media figures coming in. Many of these content creators out here. I don't know who you are. I'm sorry. Many of those media figures who are at the White House for a roundtable discussion with the president yesterday about Antifa are now out here in Chicago, where they are just out here trying to troll the protesters who have been out here demonstrating for weeks against ICE.
This is what they do. They troll. They spark some conflict, and then they get to use that content to push their propaganda.
Exactly, and we're just seeing that content machine get rolling now. Notice that none of them were here when ICE was firing tear gas at people, when ICE was shooting rubber bullets, shooting pepper balls. They're here now that Illinois State Police have taken over and heavily policed the scene and made sure that protesters can't get near the facility. now that it feels a little bit safer, here they are. Yeah, posing as press, not asking real questions. Just trying to give you a little bit of a split screen of what we're seeing in two different parts of the country right now. We're here in Chicago, where just yesterday a federal judge ruled that the National Guard cannot be nationalized and deployed anywhere within Illinois, per what the president had desired. But we are now seeing National Guard units arriving in Memphis, in Tennessee, and patrolling those streets along with local police officers.
If you want to.
Yeah, it's over on the other side of that guy.
Fucking racist! Stop profiling me! Stop asking me if I have my papers, motherfuckers! I was born here! Just because I'm Mexican and I speak Spanish don't give you the right! That is not probable cause! You need probable cause! Take that fence down! Take the fence! Take the fence! Take the fence! Take the fence!
Protesters now chanting, "Take the fence." They want it taken down per an order from a federal judge that ICE is supposed to comply with today. Take down that metal fence that we see down the block here, just outside of the ICE processing facility.
The federal judge says it has to come down today. We want it down. We, the people, want the fence down. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will
Never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
Pardon me. Sorry to interrupt. My name is JT. I'm a reporter with Status Coup. We're an online independent professional. I was just looking to interview some folks, get reactions to how you feeling about the senators coming out to visit today, what they had to say.
I'm very happy that they came out here to support for what's right. You know, they say that they're standing with us, and they're protecting our constitutional rights, because what they're doing is breaking the Constitution. They're over here deporting people with no due process, and that's against the Constitution, because even immigrants have the right to due process. So they need to stop breaking the law.
Is there more that you want to see from your elected leaders in this moment? I mean, going beyond coming out here to make a speech, is there anything else they can...
There needs to be some kind of law where ICE agents are required to identify themselves to the people, because I have seen agents out there out of uniform and only masked, and I don't even know who the hell they are. So they need to identify themselves to the people. And we need to know who the hell are those agents, because they are breaking the law, and they need to identify themselves so we can fucking report them. And that is our right.
So when you see that out in the community, what are you feeling? What's the effect it's having on your neighborhoods?
I'm scared. I'm angry because I feel defensive. Like defenseless. I can't do anything. And these people, sometimes I don't even know if they're just racist people putting on whatever the hell on, putting their mask and just claiming to be agents, because some of them don't even have real handcuffs. They have zip ties and they're out of uniform, and they say they don't have to identify themselves. There's people kidnapping people. That's what I'm seeing in my streets. And I'm concerned. And I'm furious.
So even though we've seen federal judges starting to address some of those concerns, like requiring ICE agents to try and identify themselves, you say, it's got to be a law here. We can't just rely on judges.
It's got to be a law. It's got to be against the law to not identify yourself to the people, especially when you're violating our rights. There got to be some type of law passed for that. There got to be, because I can't believe it.
And how long have you been out here protesting?
Honestly, I just came yesterday. I am a mother, you know, I work full time, so I work a lot. But I'm going to try to be here as much as I can. So I will be here more.
And why now? Why was now the time to come out and...
Because I was racially profiled, and that's when I realized there is a problem here. I was stopped by ICE. They asked me if I had my documents. Why? Because of how I look? Because I speak Spanish? I was born here in America. Why are they questioning me? And that's when I realized there was a problem.
Where did this happen?
So this happened in Little Village by 26 and Spalding. So they were just, I didn't even know they were, undercovers, unmarked vehicles. Asked me some questions. I told them I was a citizen. But you know what? I have no need to carry my documents with me. Why should I have to? Why? Why should I have to carry my documents around with me to just prove to them that I'm a U.S. citizen? I was born here. They're not asking everybody, are you a citizen? They're just asking people who look like me, people who speak my language. And that's racist and that's not right. And this is not the America I want for my children, because my children are Mexican Americans.
Does this feel like the United States of America to you?
No, it doesn't. What happened to the American dream? Where is it? Where?
Yeah. There you have it. I mean, the raw emotion out here, it's been on display now for weeks as this community has been repeatedly victimized by federal agents, masked federal agents, jumping out of unmarked vehicles or vehicles that are disguised to look like something else, jumping out of U-Haul vans, we have heard, unmarked black vans, things that are causing just a lot of apprehension, terror in some of these communities here in the Chicagoland area. And there you hear at least some degree of praise for these Democratic senators who actually came out here today. We saw them deliver some water to the nearby aid station, 1 pack each, likely part of a photo op, let's be real honest about what that was. But then coming out here, to their credit, actually talking to some of these demonstrators out here, hearing from them in their own words about why they feel so passionately about this issue, and then they're expressing, again, at least some gratitude that they are out here, that they are demanding entrance to this facility, but wanting more, wanting legislative action from their elected leaders to require ICE to be able to identify themselves or to not be acting so covertly in these communities, because they are going out there and profiling people directly with no basis in any other reason for why they are picking up people based purely on the color of their skin or where they're working at a given moment. And that's it. That's all it requires before you have a masked federal agent asking to see your papers, your proof of citizenship in this country. And we've heard from people who live in these neighborhoods, one couple who told us that they are going to start walking around with their birth certificates on them every single day to be able to prove their U.S. citizenship, because they are afraid to leave their homes right now, because they are afraid of being disappeared into this current immigration system, and this facility being part of that. Making an adjustment to the camera here. So if you're just joining us, this is the outside of the Broadview, Illinois detention facility in Broadview, Illinois, the ICE facility here. It is just down the block from where I am standing. There is a fence between where we are and a concrete barrier. We'll talk about that in a second, but there is a fence down there. You see that metal fence? That's where a lot of the attention is being paid right now. Not because the facility is beyond it, but because of what a federal judge just ruled recently, which is that that fence has to come down. It was erected across the street illegally. The federal government claims to protect the building, protect the agents, protect the mission that they are conducting on the inside. But what the Village of Broadview is saying is blocking that, one, creates a siege mentality for the people who are inside there, making them feel like they have to use more force on the people who are out here peaceably protesting, and then also impeding access to emergency vehicles, fire trucks, ambulances, and the like, and that every day, the fire chief said, every day that it remains up increases the danger to the community. So a federal judge ruling that has to come down at some point today. We haven't seen any movement to do so. We also yesterday had seen National Guard troops out just beyond this fence, walking up and down the sidewalks on patrol after they had been federalized and deployed from Texas, California, and here in Illinois to Chicago and the surrounding communities. But a federal judge just ruling yesterday that the National Guard cannot be nationalized and deployed here within the state of Illinois for at least a period until October 23rd. And until then, for that 2-week period, no National Guard that we have now seen out here today. Yeah, different look. No National Guard. There was National Guard yesterday, no National Guard today. So at least some indications that the federal government is acting in accordance with these orders. But now, like I said, all eyes on that fence to see if that fence will indeed come down today. I'll also note that we've seen, if you've been with us here for a little bit of time, you saw that interaction between the right-wing media figures and some of the protesters out here. Many of these media figures are folks who were at a White House roundtable discussion yesterday where they discussed Antifa. Now, many of those content creators are here in Chicago today, appearing with the White House yesterday, helping with the White House messaging on Antifa and trying to make this organization, which is not really an organization, just someone who identifies themselves as being against fascists, but trying to paint that into some sort of evil nationwide cabal. Those media figures helping the president in his mission to do that, and then appearing out here today indicating that this is where the president currently wants the nation's focus and wants the right-wing media machine helping out with his messaging, is here in the streets of Broadview, just outside Chicago, as the Department of Homeland Security is in the midst of Operation Midway Blitz, cracking down on communities here, scooping people up based purely on the color of their skin, and disappearing them into our immigration system for possible deportation for no other reason other than just being in the wrong place at the wrong time when ICE agents or Border Patrol agents happen by. Now those media figures out here directly provoking responses from these protesters. They've got their phones out as they're doing it. It's all about the content for them. Create videos, upload this rage bait, get comments, and our social media companies, the few oligarchic companies that control most of communication in this country, profiting directly on the rage and the division that these same media figures are producing here in our country. And they just laugh all the way to the bank and cash their checks from these social media companies. It's all about content. It's not actually about the suffering of the people here in Chicago who are being victimized by a federal government that has near limitless resources thanks to your tax dollars. Here it is at work, keeping up an illegal fence for right now, disappearing people. And then just coming on here with an update, it seems that President Trump is trying to potentially stop the big No Kings protest coming up in 8 days on October 18th. Speaker Mike Johnson today said, quote, this Hate America rally that they have coming up for October 18th, the Antifa crowd, the pro-Hamas crowd, and the Marxists, they're all going to gather on the Mall, meaning in Washington, D.C., though there are protests scheduled for communities across the country, big and small. I will note, this is not all about Washington. It is continuing the quote now, it is an outrageous gathering for outrageous purposes. All this has got to come to an end, unquote. So there you go. The Republican administration in charge, ostensibly standing for American values and how great America is. One of the things that is truly great about this country is our robust First Amendment rights to protest, to express yourself. Many Americans planning to do so on October 18th, now being labeled as Marxists, pro-Hamas, and Antifa by the Speaker of the House. And another important update here from Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, quote, last night I received notification of the 19th death of a detained person in ICE custody since Trump took office. ICE is detaining people mostly in private, for-profit prisons that put profit over health, and now they have furloughed the safety inspectors. This is unacceptable. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal there talking about now 19 people dying while in ICE custody since Donald Trump took office. Not sure if that number includes the one man who was killed here in a North Chicago neighborhood. Another woman shot. She was supposed to have a court appearance today. We've been waiting for updates on that proceeding as well. But this is the scene out here in Chicago. This is just daily now, though it is the protesters saying that they are at least feeling encouraged, one, by some of these federal court rulings that have been against the Trump administration, and attempting to hold up what little of the Constitution remains afforded to us as Americans, and also buoyed by at least the appearance of their two senators, Senator Tammy Duckworth and Senator Dick Durbin, who also appeared, heard straight from them, did some photo op opportunities, took some questions from the press, and then left here for maybe a total of half an hour or so while down here at the Broadview ICE detention facility. They did not approach the gate. It seemed as if they were going to for one period, but they walked just as far as these concrete barricades, which are marked as the edges for both the media and protesters, as close as they are able to get to the facility. The protesters have labeled these free speech zones because protesting is only allowed within these areas and only during certain acceptable hours, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. By the village of Broadview. Otherwise, protesters are first warned, then cited, and then threatened with arrest if they continue to protest outside these areas beyond those hours. So if you're just joining us, again, the reason we went live here on sort of an impromptu moment was that we had a visit from both of Illinois senators, Senator Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. They're both Democrats. They came out here to the facility to deliver water, took questions from the press, talked to some of the protesters, and then left. You hear the boos there behind me. They are being lobbed by these few protesters who are out here right now. They're being lobbed towards DHS officers whenever they come out of the building or are plainly visible out here in Broadview. Otherwise, it's mostly people just standing around with signs, peacefully protesting. I mean, even the shouts, I mean, they don't amount to anything, though sometimes even that has been enough to provoke, ICE officers from the facility there to fire pepper balls and such at these protesters. Though some of that activity now dying down in recent weeks. Most of the actual police work out here is now being done by Illinois State Police. Governor J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, said that he is using the state police as a way to protect protesters from DHS. That's the Department of Homeland Security that oversees ICE. I don't think these protesters likely agree or even want that kind of treatment. Instead, they would rather be able to get as close to the fence line as they can, as close to ICE officers as they can. They want to try and disrupt the actual operations out here in Broadview, Illinois, hoping to at least slow down the Operation Midway Blitz that the Department of Homeland Security is undertaking out here.
So we got some word. The fence might be coming down soon.
Yeah, we're hearing that the fence might be coming down soon out here, but that's why we're out here. We wanted to come out here. We were here this morning for protests, covered that. We went down to the federal courthouse to check in on some proceedings down there. Then we came back out here, in part because the senators were going to make an appearance, but also because we wanted to watch for when this fence does come down. We'll be covering that. We're going to remain here on the ground. Even when you don't see us live, we are still out here doing reporting here in the community. We're conducting interviews. We are chasing down leads. And if you value this work, being able to go live at the drop of a hat and bring you, what is happening on the ground here as it develops, when senators arrive and when protests break out, please go to statuscoup.com/join. Subscribe for just $5 a month is what goes to pay all of our bills to be able to continue to do this work. John and I aren't from here. We don't have the ability to just walk out of our front doors and start covering this stuff. There's travel involved to get here. We have to stay in hotels. We have to bring all of our gear. We have to troubleshoot our gear when we're out here. That means buying replacement parts for our cameras, for our computers, etc. to be able to do this work. We've got a great team of folks who support us from afar in our operations, producers and such, and we all rely on your support. So $5 a month, 16 cents a day goes to keeping us here on the ground in Chicago. Looking forward to this weekend, aside from this fence potentially coming down today, we're keeping an ear out for other potential protests. We're hearing about a protest that may develop around 5 o'clock here local time in a Chicago neighborhood that we may be able to go cover. We're also looking at tomorrow. We're expecting more protests out here tomorrow evening, and we're interested to see how those develop given the new hours, the curfews that are put on protesting out here at this facility. The protests traditionally on Saturdays have started at 4 o'clock and gone into the nighttime hours until people kind of lose energy and go home for the night. But now they're being placed at that hard cap of 6 o'clock. So tomorrow evening we'll be seeing how that develops, exactly how many people come out here, what's the strength of those protests, and then what happens come that 6 o'clock deadline. We will try to keep an eye on it. This morning, before the 9 a.m. start time of allowable protests, we saw that just the number of people demonstrating became too much for police, and they had to let people just come in and protest. But that's what we're looking forward to here today. Thank you very much for being with us. For myself, for John, for Jordan, Michelle, and Colin, and all of us here at Status Coup, all of our supporters, thank you for tuning in here outside the Broadview ICE detention facility. I am JT Siskowski. Thanks, guys.